Welcome to our deep dive into the shadowy world of elite deceivers. Buckle up, kids, because we're about to go on a wild, wildly depressing ride through the underbelly of power and influence. And if you think this is just going to be another one of those conspiracy theory rants, you're in for a real treat, because we're not just here to point fingers and shout, "Wake up, sheeple." No, we're going full wonk on this one. Charts, graphs, the whole shebang. Today we uncover how influential figures have shaped society through manipulation and control. From the hallowed halls of finance to the silicon thrones of tech giants, we'll expose the tactics used to mold our perceptions and steer our very reality. We're talking propaganda so slick, so pervasive, you'll wonder if you ever had an original thought in your life. And the worst part, you probably haven't. But hey, don't get too bummed out just yet, because knowledge is power, or at least the illusion of power. So sit back, relax, and prepare to have your entire worldview shattered. You might want to grab a stiff drink or 12, because trust me, you're going to need it. Let's start with the puppet masters you rarely see, the ones pulling the financial strings from behind the curtain. We're talking about the financial moguls, the captains of industry, the guys with more money than God and a moral compass to match. Think about it. Who controls the flow of capital? Who decides what gets funded, what gets built, what gets ignored? It's not you, and it's certainly not me. It's these guys. And they're not exactly known for their altruism. For them, it's all about maintaining a system that benefits them, even if it means screwing over everyone else. They'll happily crash the global economy just to line their own pockets a little more. 2008, anyone? Remember that little oopsie? Yeah, not exactly an accident. They use their wealth to influence politicians, shape public opinion through media empires they conveniently own, and generally rig the game in their favor. And the worst part is they get away with it, because they've convinced us that they're brilliant job creators, masters of the universe who are somehow entitled to all that wealth. But here's the truth. They're not geniuses. They're just really good at exploiting a system that they helped create. A system built on debt, inequality, and the illusion that more money equals more happiness. So, the next time you hear some billionaire bloviating about the free market or trickle-down economics, remember this: they're not on your side. They're playing a different game altogether, and you, my friend, are not invited. Now let's talk about those lovable scamps, politicians. These are the folks who campaign on promises of hope and change, only to spend their time in office lining their own pockets and those of their cronies. And they're really good at it. I mean, have you ever listened to a politician speak? It's like watching a masterclass in saying absolutely nothing with the utmost conviction. They're experts at exploiting your fears and prejudices, dividing the public against itself while they laugh all the way to the bank. Left versus right, liberal versus conservative, it's all a distraction from the real issues. They'll happily start wars, erode civil liberties, and dismantle social safety nets, all while convincing you it's for your own good. And the saddest part is, sometimes they actually believe their own bullshit. But hey, at least they look good doing it. They've got teams of stylists, speechwriters, and spin doctors working around the clock to craft the perfect image, the perfect soundbite, the perfect lie. So the next time you're watching a political debate or listening to a stump speech, remember this: you're not watching a battle of ideas, you're watching a performance. And the prize? Power. Raw, unadulterated power. And these folks, they'll do anything to hold on to it. The tech giants, the darlings of the digital age, the innovators, the disruptors, the ones who promised us a brighter future. Well, guess what? The future is here, and it's brought to you by targeted advertising. These companies, with their sleek interfaces and promises of convenience, have wormed their way into every aspect of our lives. They know what you eat, where you shop, who you sleep with. They track your every move, both online and off. And they use that information to manipulate you in ways you can't even imagine. They sell you products you don't need, convince you to vote against your own interests, and create echo chambers where dissenting voices are silenced. They've turned us all into addicts, hooked on likes, shares, and the dopamine rush of online validation. And we're so busy scrolling through our feeds, outraged by the latest viral outrage, that we don't even realize we're being played. These tech titans, they talk a big game about connecting the world and making it a better place, but let's be real, they're mostly interested in one thing: profit. Your data is their gold and they're mining it like there's no tomorrow. So, the next time you open your phone to check your notifications, remember this: you're not the customer, you're the product, and you're being sold. Now let's talk about a topic that often makes people uncomfortable: religion. Look, I'm not here to bash anyone's beliefs, but let's be honest, throughout history, religious institutions have been some of the most effective purveyors of propaganda and control. They offer easy answers to complex questions, promising comfort and salvation in exchange for unquestioning obedience. They preach love and compassion, but often practice intolerance and discrimination. They control their followers through fear, guilt, and the promise of eternal damnation. And let's not forget the whole blind faith thing. You know, that whole don't question, just believe mantra. Yeah, that's a great way to shut down critical thinking. And don't even get me started on the hypocrisy, the opulent lifestyles of religious leaders, the scandals, the abuse, all while preaching poverty and humility. It's enough to make you lose your faith in, well, faith itself. Now, to be fair, not all religions are created equal, and there are plenty of good people who find comfort and meaning in their faith. But it's important to be critical, to ask questions, and to never blindly follow anyone, no matter how holy they claim to be. Finally, let's talk about those glamorous creatures, those arbiters of taste and style, those beacons of aspiration, cultural icons. From movie stars to musicians to social media influencers, they're everywhere, selling us a lifestyle, an image, an idea of who we should be. They make us covet their clothes, their cars, their seemingly perfect lives. And we, the ever-dutiful consumers, lap it up, emptying our wallets in a desperate attempt to emulate our idols. But here's the thing, it's all a carefully constructed illusion. Behind the perfectly curated Instagram feeds and the airbrush magazine covers, there are real people with flaws, insecurities, and problems just like the rest of us. These icons, they're not selling products, they're selling aspirations. They're selling the idea that if you just buy this lipstick or wear that watch or drive that car, you too can have it all. But here's a newsflash. You can't buy happiness, you can't buy fulfillment, and you certainly can't buy your way into some exclusive club of the elite. So the next time you're tempted to drop a month's rent on a designer handbag, remember this: you're being sold a fantasy, and the only people getting rich are the ones selling it. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the veiled world of elite deceivers. We've exposed the tactics, the manipulation, and the outright lies used to control and exploit us. But this isn't the end. It's just the beginning. Now that you're aware of the game, you can start to see through the illusions and question the narratives being shoved down your throat. Stay informed and always question the narratives presented to you. Don't be afraid to think for yourself, to challenge authority, and to speak truth to power. Because the only way to fight back against the elite deceivers is to become informed, engaged, and, dare I say, a little bit cynical. Stay vigilant, my friends. Welcome to the 21st century, where power no longer resides solely with politicians or monarchs. No, no, no. Today, a new breed has emerged, the technocrats. These are the Silicon Valley giants, the tech wizards, the ones who speak in algorithms and dream in code. They promise us a brighter future, a digital utopia where everything is connected, efficient, and convenient. But at what cost? These aren't your friendly neighborhood computer geeks. We're talking about the likes of Bill Gates, the Microsoft maestro turned global health guru, Elon Musk, the real-life Tony Stark, shooting for Mars while we're stuck in traffic, and of course Mark Zuckerberg, the man who wants to connect us all, whether we like it or not. They are shaping our world in profound ways, and we, the humble users, are along for the ride. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this is where things get interesting. You see, these technocrats with their shiny gadgets and utopian visions are amassing an unprecedented amount of power. Power that stems not from armies or elections, but from something far more insidious: data. Your data. Data is the new oil, or so they say. And just like the oil barons of yore, these tech titans are sitting on a gold mine. Every click, every like, every swipe right, it all gets hoovered up and added to their digital treasure chests. These guys know more about us than we know about ourselves. They track our movements, our purchases, our deepest desires. They can predict our behavior, manipulate our emotions, and even influence our thoughts. Take Bill Gates, for instance. He's moved on from software and is now deeply invested in global health. Admirable? Sure. But let's not forget, he's also a major proponent of digital identification systems. Imagine a world where your medical records, your financial history, your entire digital footprint is tied to a single, unique identifier. Convenient, perhaps, but also a tad Orwellian, wouldn't you say? And then there's Elon Musk, our favorite Martian in the making. He's busy launching rockets and digging tunnels, but he's also got his fingers in the artificial intelligence pie. His company, Neuralink, is developing brain-computer interfaces, chips implanted in our skulls that promise to merge man and machine. Sounds like science fiction. Think again. Musk claims it's the only way to stay ahead of the AI apocalypse he seems so convinced is coming. But wait, there's more. Let's not forget about Mark Zuckerberg and his ever-expanding Facebook empire. He's already conquered social media, and now he's got his sights set on the metaverse, a virtual reality world where we can work, play, and basically live our entire lives. Sounds tempting almost, but in this brave new world, who's watching whom? Who controls the data, the algorithms, the very fabric of this digital reality? We live in a world blanketed by surveillance, both physical and digital. CCTV cameras track our movements in public spaces. Facial recognition software identifies us in crowds. Our phones, our smart speakers, even our refrigerators are collecting data on our every move. And who controls this vast surveillance apparatus? Governments, corporations, and, increasingly, these very same technocrats. They argue that it's for our own good, of course, to keep us safe, to improve our lives, to make the world a better place. And maybe, just maybe, there's a sliver of truth to that. But when the same tools that are used to catch criminals are also used to stifle dissent and monitor entire populations, we should all be a little bit concerned, a little bit creeped out even. It's easy to feel powerless in the face of all this, like we're just cogs in a giant machine, our lives dictated by algorithms and controlled by forces beyond our understanding. But here's the thing. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the choices we make, the information we consume, the narratives we buy into, because while the technocrats are busy building their digital empires, there's another group of powerful figures shaping our world in equally profound ways, the media moguls. These are the gatekeepers of information, the storytellers, the ones who decide what we see, what we hear, and what we believe. And they wield their power with surgical precision, crafting narratives that serve their interests and bolster their bottom line. They can make us fear the things they fear, hate the things they hate, and believe the things they want us to believe. Section 5, the media moguls Murdoch, Bezos, and the narrative control. Now, some might say, but John, isn't that a bit dramatic? It's just news, right? If only it were that simple. We're not talking about your kindly old neighbour who delivers the local paper. We're talking about media titans like Rupert Murdoch, the Aussie media baron who built an empire on sensationalism and right-wing ideology. These newspapers and TV channels have a knack for shaping public opinion, often in ways that benefit the highest bidders. And then there's Jeff Bezos, the Amazon overlord who added newspaper magnate to his ever-growing resume when he bought the Washington Post. Sure, he claims to be a champion of free speech and investigative journalism, but let's not forget that he's also the head of a trillion-dollar company with a vested interest in shaping government policy and public perception. These media moguls, with their vast empires and bottomless pockets, hold immense sway over the public narrative. They can make heroes out of villains and villains out of heroes. They can start wars with a single headline and topple governments with a well-placed expose, and they can do it all while hiding behind a veneer of objectivity and journalistic integrity. Section 6, manufacturing consent. How media shapes our reality. But it's not just about outright lies and propaganda, it's about the more subtle ways in which media shapes our perception of the world. The stories they choose to tell, the voices they choose to amplify, the facts they choose to omit, it all adds up to a carefully curated version of reality, a version that often serves the interests of the powerful and the privileged. Take, for instance, the coverage of climate change. For years, media outlets, particularly those owned by fossil fuel interests, downplayed the severity of the crisis, giving equal weight to climate deniers and legitimate scientists. This created a false sense of balance, misleading the public and delaying action on one of the most pressing issues of our time. Or consider the portrayal of social movements. When was the last time you saw a nuanced, in-depth report on a protest or a demonstration? More often than not, the media focuses on the most sensational elements, the clashes with police, the property damage, while ignoring the underlying issues that drove people to take to the streets in the first place. Section 7, Dissent Silenced. When media becomes propaganda, and God forbid you dare to criticize the status quo, speak out against the powers that be and you'll quickly find yourself labeled a radical, a troublemaker, even a traitor. The media, often complicit in this silencing, will either ignore your message entirely or twist it to fit their predetermined narrative. It's a dangerous game we're playing, folks. When the very institutions tasked with holding power to account become mouthpieces for the powerful, we all lose. We lose our ability to think critically, to question authority, to imagine a better world. We become passive consumers of information, spoon-fed narratives that serve to maintain the status quo. The technocrats may be building the digital infrastructure of our future, but it's the media moguls who are writing the code that will determine how we live in it. And that, my friends, is something worth getting genuinely angry about. Section 8. The illusion of choice, trapped in the digital panopticon. So, there you have it, the digital trap unveiled. A world where our data is mined for profit, our lives are monitored for control, and our very thoughts are shaped by a handful of powerful individuals. We scroll through our feeds bombarded with carefully curated content designed to keep us engaged, enraged, and endlessly consuming. We exist in filter bubbles, surrounded by like-minded individuals, our worldviews reinforced by algorithms that tell us what we want to hear, not what we need to know. We celebrate the convenience of the digital age, the instant connectivity, the endless stream of information at our fingertips, but we rarely stop to consider the hidden costs, the erosion of privacy, the manipulation of our thoughts and desires. We become willing participants in our own surveillance, trading our freedom for the illusion of security, our autonomy for the convenience of a personalized experience. Section 9, Reclaiming Our Future, a call for awareness. But it's not too late. We can still break free from this digital panopticon. We can choose to be conscious consumers of information, to question the narratives we are fed, to seek out diverse perspectives. We can demand transparency from our tech overlords, hold them accountable for their actions, and push for regulations that protect our privacy and our freedoms. We can support independent media, engage in critical thinking, and reclaim our right to shape our own narratives, both online and off. The future is not predetermined, it's not written in algorithms or controlled by billionaires. It's shaped by the choices we make, the actions we take, the stories we tell. So let's choose wisely, act boldly, and write a better future for ourselves and for generations to come. Because the digital world may be virtual, but the stakes are very, very real. Have you ever felt like something wasn't quite right with the world? Like there was an unseen force pulling the strings, shaping events from the shadows? This is not a conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy fact. For centuries, a powerful elite has worked tirelessly to manipulate and control the masses. Their tools are not armies or weapons, but something far more insidious, our own beliefs. This manipulation begins with religion. Since time immemorial, those in power have used spirituality to control the hearts and minds of the populace. By twisting sacred teachings and promoting fear-based doctrines, they create obedient followers who dare not question the established order. But their influence doesn't stop there. The entertainment industry, the media, and even the very symbols that surround us are all carefully crafted to reinforce their agenda. We are bombarded with messages designed to shape our thoughts, desires, and perceptions of reality. This essay will expose the methods and motives of these elite deceivers. By understanding their tactics, we can begin to break free from their control and reclaim our true power. Throughout history, religion has been wielded as a double-edged sword. In the hands of the righteous, it can inspire compassion, unity, and a deep connection to the divine. Yet in the hands of the power-hungry, it becomes a tool of oppression and control. Certain religious leaders, knowingly or unknowingly, serve as mouthpieces for the elite agenda. They preach doctrines of obedience, submission, and unquestioning faith, effectively silencing any dissent or critical thinking among their followers. These doctrines are often based on fear of God, fear of hell, fear of the unknown. This fear creates a population that is easily manipulated. When people are afraid, they are more likely to cling to authority figures and accept their pronouncements without question. This makes them perfect pawns in the elite's game of power. History is replete with examples of religious institutions used to justify wars, slavery, and the suppression of knowledge. From the Crusades to the Spanish Inquisition, the blood of millions stains the hands of those who claim to act in the name of God. And while we might like to believe that such atrocities are a thing of the past, the truth is that the same tactics are still being used today, albeit in more subtle and insidious ways. The line between religious authority and political power has always been blurred. Throughout history, we see countless examples of unholy alliances between rulers and religious institutions, each propping up the other in a mutually beneficial relationship. Kings and queens have long sought the blessing of the church to legitimize their rule. By aligning themselves with the prevailing religious doctrines, they gain a powerful tool for social control. The church, in turn, benefits from the patronage of the ruling class, securing its wealth, influence, and the unwavering obedience of its subjects. This unholy alliance allows the elite to maintain their grip on power while cloaking their actions in an aura of divine right. The masses, conditioned to believe that their leaders are appointed by God, dare not question their authority. Even today, the tendrils of this ancient relationship can be seen in the political landscapes of many nations. Religious right-wing groups wield significant influence in governments around the world, pushing for policies that align with their narrow interpretations of Scripture. This fusion of religion and politics is a dangerous cocktail, one that threatens individual liberty and critical thinking. Section 4. The Gospel of Entertainment. Hollywood's hidden messages. While religion provides the foundation for control, it is the entertainment industry that cements it. Hollywood, with its glittering facade and seductive narratives, is a powerful weapon in the elite's arsenal. Through movies, television shows, and music, they subtly inject their ideologies into the subconscious mind of the masses. These messages are often disguised as harmless entertainment, making them all the more insidious. Think about the values and lifestyles promoted in many Hollywood blockbusters. Consumerism, superficiality, instant gratification, and the pursuit of wealth and fame are all relentlessly glamorized. This constant bombardment shapes our desires, our aspirations, and ultimately our behavior. But the manipulation goes deeper than that. Hidden within seemingly innocent entertainment are powerful symbols and subliminal messages designed to program our thoughts and perceptions. Section 5. Idols of the Age, Celebrity Worship and the Elite Agenda. Celebrity worship is not a harmless cultural phenomenon. It is a carefully cultivated tool used by the elite to further their agenda. Celebrities, whether they are aware of it or not, become mouthpieces for the elite's values and beliefs. They are paraded before us as the epitome of success, beauty, and desirability. Their every move is scrutinized, their every word amplified, their every fashion choice imitated. In this way, they become powerful influencers, shaping the tastes, opinions, and aspirations of millions. But who are these celebrities? Where do they come from? And who decides which ones will rise to the top? The truth is that the entertainment industry is a carefully controlled environment. Those who reach the pinnacle of fame and fortune are often those who are willing to play the game, to promote the elite's agenda, whether consciously or unconsciously. We are conditioned to emulate these idols, to aspire to their lifestyles, and to embrace their values. In doing so, we become unwitting participants in our own enslavement. The world of finance has long been dominated by powerful figures, often shrouded in secrecy. Mayer Amschel Rothschild, the patriarch of the Rothschild banking dynasty, understood the power of money and influence. He strategically placed his sons in key financial centers across Europe. J.P. Morgan, an American financier, rose to prominence in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. He spearheaded the creation of powerful corporations and wielded immense control over American industry. Paul Warburg, a German-American banker, played a pivotal role in the establishment of the Federal Reserve System. These men, though separated by time and geography, shared a common vision: centralized financial control. They understood that whoever controlled a nation's money supply could dictate its economic fate. Through their actions, they laid the foundation for a system that would shape the global financial landscape for decades to come. This system, often opaque and complex, has benefited a select few at the expense of the many. Understanding their methods and motivations is crucial for anyone seeking to comprehend the levers of power in the modern world. Central banking emerged as a powerful force in the early 20th century. It promised stability and efficiency. However, its true purpose often lay in consolidating financial power in the hands of a select few. These institutions were granted significant authority. They could control interest rates, manipulate the money supply, and act as lenders of last resort to governments and financial institutions. This concentration of power, however well-intentioned, created a system ripe for manipulation. The creation of the Bank of England in 1694 set a precedent. It paved the way for similar institutions to emerge across Europe and eventually in the United States. These central banks, though often presented as independent entities, became intertwined with the interests of powerful financiers and governments. This relationship, often concealed from public view, allowed for the manipulation of economic systems for private gain. The consequences of this manipulation would be felt most acutely by ordinary citizens. They would bear the brunt of economic downturns, while the elites who orchestrated them emerged largely unscathed. The Federal Reserve, established in 1913, stands as the central bank of the United States. It was presented to the American public as a solution to the recurring financial panics that plagued the nation. However, the circumstances surrounding its creation reveal a more nuanced and troubling reality. The Federal Reserve Act was passed in secrecy, shrouded in controversy, and heavily influenced by the very bankers it was supposed to regulate. Despite its name, the Federal Reserve is not a federal agency. It is a privately owned entity controlled by a board of directors primarily selected by private banks. This structure raises serious questions about accountability and transparency. The Federal Reserve's true allegiance lies not with the American people, but with its shareholders, the private banks that benefit most from its policies. The Federal Reserve wields enormous power over the U.S. economy. It controls the money supply through a process known as fractional reserve banking. This system allows banks to create new money by lending out a multiple of their reserves. While this process can stimulate economic activity, it also creates debt and inflates asset bubbles. The Federal Reserve's ability to manipulate interest rates is another powerful tool. By lowering interest rates, the Federal Reserve encourages borrowing and spending. This can lead to economic expansion, but it can also fuel unsustainable bubbles in asset prices. Conversely, when the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, it can slow down inflation and curb excessive speculation. However, it can also stifle economic growth and lead to recession. This delicate balancing act is often influenced more by political considerations and the interests of the financial elite than by sound economic principles. John D. Rockefeller, a name synonymous with both immense wealth and cutthroat business tactics, left an indelible mark on American industry and society. His journey began in 1870 with the establishment of Standard Oil, a company that would grow to dominate the oil industry. From its humble beginnings, Standard Oil rapidly expanded its reach, acquiring rivals and consolidating its power through ruthless competition and strategic brilliance. Rockefeller's relentless pursuit of efficiency and control propelled Standard Oil to unprecedented heights, transforming the landscape of American business and shaping the nation's economic destiny. Rockefeller's ambition knew no bounds, and his vision extended far beyond the oil fields. He understood that true power lay not just in production, but in controlling the entire supply chain, from extraction to distribution. With meticulous precision, he built a network of pipelines, refineries, and distribution networks that spanned the nation. effectively cornering the market and dictating the terms of the burgeoning oil industry. His tactics, while undeniably effective, drew criticism for their ruthlessness, as he showed little hesitation in crushing competitors or exploiting legal loopholes to advance his interests. As Standard Oil's dominance grew, so too did Rockefeller's personal fortune. He amassed a level of wealth unparalleled in American history, becoming a symbol of both the immense opportunities and the stark inequalities of the Gilded Age. His critics accused him of monopolistic practices, arguing that his relentless pursuit of profit came at the expense of fair competition and consumer choice. Yet, even as his business practices drew scrutiny and condemnation, Rockefeller embarked on a path of philanthropy, donating vast sums to charitable causes and establishing foundations that would shape American society for generations to come. The true extent of Rockefeller's wealth remains shrouded in mystery, a testament to his complex and often opaque business dealings. He was a master of corporate structuring, employing a labyrinthine network of shell companies and holding companies to conceal his true ownership and control. These intricate arrangements, while legal at the time, made it exceedingly difficult for outsiders to discern the full scope of his financial empire. This lack of transparency fueled suspicions and accusations, with critics alleging that he used these tactics to evade taxes, manipulate markets, and consolidate his grip on power. One of Rockefeller's most effective strategies involved creating multiple layers of subsidiary companies, each with its own seemingly independent board of directors and financial statements. These subsidiaries would then hold shares in other companies, creating a tangled web of ownership that obscured the ultimate beneficiary. This approach, while complex, allowed Rockefeller to exert influence over a vast array of industries without attracting undue attention or scrutiny. It also made it challenging for regulators and competitors to track his movements or anticipate his next move. This intricate web of corporate holdings served several strategic purposes. It allowed Rockefeller to minimize his tax burden by shifting profits between subsidiaries and taking advantage of legal loopholes. It also provided him with a degree of anonymity, shielding him from personal liability and public criticism. By operating through a network of intermediaries, he could distance himself from controversial business practices while reaping the financial rewards. This approach, while effective in protecting his interests, further cemented his image as a ruthless and secretive tycoon. As Rockefeller's wealth and influence grew, so too did his interest in philanthropy. He became one of the most prolific philanthropists of his time, donating hundreds of millions of dollars to various causes, including education, medicine, and scientific research. His generosity knew few bounds, and his philanthropic endeavors touched countless lives, leaving an enduring legacy of social good. However, some critics argued that his philanthropy was a calculated attempt to improve his public image and deflect criticism of his business practices. Rockefeller's philanthropic endeavors were often intertwined with his business interests. For instance, his funding of medical research, while undoubtedly beneficial to society, also served to advance the interests of the pharmaceutical industry, which was becoming increasingly reliant on the products of Standard Oil. Similarly, his support for education, particularly his focus on vocational training, aligned with his belief in a workforce tailored to the needs of industry. This blurring of the lines between philanthropy and business strategy led some to question the true motives behind his generosity. Despite the criticisms, there is no denying the positive impact of Rockefeller's philanthropy. His donations helped to eradicate hookworm disease, establish the University of Chicago as a leading research institution, and fund groundbreaking medical discoveries. His philanthropic legacy continues to this day through the Rockefeller Foundation, which remains a leading force in global health development and social change. Whether driven by genuine altruism or a desire to secure his legacy, Rockefeller's philanthropy undeniably shaped the social and intellectual landscape of the 20th century. Rockefeller's influence extended far beyond the realm of business, reaching into the very heart of American education. He believed that a well-educated workforce was essential to the continued success of American industry, and he saw education as a means to shape the minds of future generations. In 1903, he founded the General Education Board, a philanthropic organization dedicated to promoting education in the United States. Through the General Education Board, Rockefeller poured millions of dollars into reforming public education, particularly in the South, where illiteracy rates were high and educational opportunities were limited. Rockefeller's vision for education was deeply intertwined with his belief in the importance of efficiency and standardization. He believed that schools should be run like factories, with a focus on producing graduates equipped with the skills and knowledge needed to succeed in the industrial workforce. This approach emphasized rote learning, memorization, and strict discipline, with little room for creativity or critical thinking. Rockefeller's model of education, while instrumental in expanding access to schooling, faced criticism for its rigidity and its emphasis on conformity over individuality. Under Rockefeller's guidance, the General Education Board played a pivotal role in shaping the curriculum and pedagogy of American schools. It funded the development of standardized tests, promoted the adoption of a national curriculum, and supported the training of teachers in industrial education methods. Rockefeller's vision for education, while controversial, had a profound and lasting impact on the American education system, shaping the way generations of students were taught and the skills they were expected to acquire. His emphasis on practical skills and workforce preparedness continues to influence debates about the purpose and direction of education in the 21st century. The story of our nation's industrial rise is one of ambition and innovation. It all began with the early pioneers who laid the groundwork for future advancements. Over time, factories sprouted up, transforming the landscape and the economy. The relentless drive for progress led to the creation of new technologies and infrastructure that connected people and places like never before. Today, we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, continuing to push the boundaries of what is possible. Our industrial heritage is not just a chapter in history, but a living, breathing testament to human ingenuity and determination. In the early 20th century, John D. Rockefeller envisioned a society where education was tailored to fit industrial needs. His philanthropy aimed to shape the workforce, ensuring that each individual had the skills necessary for their role. This approach, while innovative, also sparked debates about the purpose of education. Was it merely to serve economic interests, or should it foster broader intellectual growth? Fast forward to today, and we see the echoes of Rockefeller's educational model in our current system. Many institutions still prioritize job readiness and technical skills, but the question remains, is this the best approach for a rapidly changing world? As technology evolves, so too must our educational philosophies. It's a delicate balance between preparing students for the job market and nurturing critical thinkers who can adapt to unforeseen challenges. Rockefeller's influence extended beyond education into the financial sector. His support was pivotal in the establishment of the Federal Reserve in 1913. This central banking system was designed to stabilize the economy and prevent financial panics. However, it also centralized immense power in the hands of a few, raising concerns about accountability and control. The legacy of this institution continues to shape economic policies and debates to this day. John D. Rockefeller's legacy is one of profound contradictions. He was a titan of industry, amassing unprecedented wealth, yet he also gave away vast sums to philanthropic causes. His vision for education and finance has left an indelible mark on society, but it also raises questions about the concentration of power and the true cost of progress. As we reflect on his impact, we are reminded that history is often a tapestry of conflicting narratives, each thread revealing a different facet of the human experience. All right, folks, welcome back. Today we're diving headfirst into some seriously weird shit. We're talking about Donald Trump, chaos, magic, and the hidden forces that might be at play. I know, sounds crazy, right? But stay with me here. We're going to unpack some seriously strange connections. We're talking about Trump's unpredictable behavior, his knack for manipulating the media, and how it all ties back to ancient esoteric traditions. This isn't about left or right, folks. This is about trying to understand the man, the myth, the legend, Donald J. Trump through a different lens. Buckle up, because we're about to go deep down the rabbit hole. We're talking secret societies, ancient rituals, and the raw power of belief itself. You might want to grab a notebook for this one, folks. This is some next level stuff. So let's talk about Donald Trump. The man is a walking paradox, right? One minute he's saying one thing, the next minute he's contradicting himself. It drives people crazy. But what if it's all part of the plan? See, in chaos magic, belief is a tool. It's not about dogma or rigid ideology. It's about using whatever belief system works at the time to achieve your desired outcome. Sounds familiar? Think about Trump's political career. He's bounced around on issues, changed his stance on a dime. People call him inconsistent, a flip-flopper. But what if he's playing a different game altogether? What if he's intentionally using belief as a weapon, a way to keep his opponents off balance? It's like he's constantly shifting the narrative, creating chaos and confusion. And in that chaos, he thrives. He becomes the eye of the storm, the only constant in a sea of ever-changing opinions. This isn't about whether you agree with his policies or not. This is about understanding the man's tactics, the way he uses belief as a fluid, adaptable tool to achieve his goals. It's a level of strategic thinking that most people don't even realize is possible. And that's what makes him so dangerous. He's not playing by the same rules as everyone else. He's operating on a whole other level, one where belief itself becomes a weapon. It's like he's taken the principles of chaos magic and applied them to the world of politics. Now, I'm not saying he's sitting in the Oval Office drawing pentagrams or summoning demons, but there's a definite parallel here, a way in which Trump's manipulation of belief mirrors the core tenets of chaos magic. It's about understanding the power of symbols, of narratives, of the stories we tell ourselves about the world. And Trump, whether he knows it or not, is a master storyteller. He understands the power of belief, and he's not afraid to use it. Let's talk about sigils for a second. In chaos magic, a sigil is a symbol you create that represents your desired outcome. You charge it up with your intention, then release it into the world to manifest your will. Now think about Trump's branding. Make America Great Again. Simple, powerful, unforgettable. It's not just a slogan, it's a sigil. It's a symbol charged with the hopes, dreams, and frustrations of millions of people. And it's not just the MAGA hat. It's build the wall, lock her up, fake news. These phrases, these memes, they're like viral sigils, spreading like wildfire through the collective consciousness. They bypass rational thought, tapping into primal emotions, fear, anger, nostalgia. They create a sense of us versus them, a battle between good and evil. And in that simplified binary worldview, Trump positions himself as the hero, the savior. It's brilliant, really. He's weaponized memetics, using the power of symbols and slogans to bypass critical thinking and implant his ideas directly into the minds of his followers. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone wearing a MAGA hat and instantly made assumptions about their beliefs, their values, their worldview? That's the power of sigil magic at work. It's about creating symbols that resonate with people on a deep emotional level. Symbols that bypass the rational mind and tap into something more primal, more instinctive. And Trump, whether he knows it or not, is a master of sigil magic. He understands the power of symbols, of memes, of creating simple, evocative images that stick in people's minds. He's created a whole mythology around himself, a narrative that's bigger than any one person. And he's done it using the same principles of sigil magic that have been used by occultists and magicians for centuries. One of the things that makes Trump so fascinating, so damn entertaining, is his role as a disruptor. He's the bull in the china shop, the wrench in the gears of the establishment, and people can't get enough of it. See, in chaos magic, there's this concept of the trickster archetype. It's that force of chaos that disrupts the status quo, shakes things up, throws everything into disarray. And out of that chaos, new possibilities emerge. Think about Trump's rise to power. He came out of nowhere. A reality TV star with zero political experience, he broke every rule in the book, insulted his opponents, said things that would have sunk any other candidate. But instead of destroying him, it made him stronger. People were tired of the same old, same old. They were hungry for something different, someone who wasn't afraid to speak his mind, even if it meant breaking a few eggs along the way. Trump tapped into that anger, that frustration, that desire for change. He became a vessel for the collective shadow, the embodiment of all the things people were afraid to say out loud. And in doing so, he unleashed a torrent of chaos upon the world. He shattered the norms, overturned the apple cart, and left everyone wondering what the hell was going on. Now, whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny the man's impact. He's changed the face of American politics forever. He's shown that the old rules no longer apply, that anything is possible, and that's the essence of the trickster archetype. It's about disrupting the status quo, breaking down old structures and creating space for something new to emerge. It's about embracing chaos, not fearing it. Because sometimes the only way to create real change is to burn everything down and start fresh. One of the core principles of chaos magic is the idea that belief shapes reality. What you believe, you create. Your will, your intention, it has the power to influence the world around you. And let's be honest, folks, Donald Trump is a man with an iron will. He's got this unshakable belief in himself, in his vision, in his ability to bend reality to his will. Think about it. The man declared bankruptcy multiple times, but he always bounced back, bigger and bolder than ever. He faced countless scandals, weathered every storm, emerged from the fire seemingly unscathed. It's like he's got this force field around him, this aura of invincibility. And that aura is fueled by his unwavering belief in himself. He says something, and even if it's demonstrably false, his followers believe him. He denies reality, and his supporters create alternative facts to support his version of events. It's like he's tapped into some kind of collective psychic energy, a feedback loop of belief that reinforces his own reality distortion field. And that's the power of will at work. It's not about magic wands and incantations. It's about the sheer force of your intention, your ability to focus your energy and manifest your desired outcome. Trump, whether consciously or not, understands this principle. He's a master of manifestation, of using his will to shape the world around him. He's shown us that belief is a powerful force, a force that can move mountains, topple governments, and rewrite the rules of reality itself. Now, we're going to dive into some really weird territory here, folks. We're talking about secret societies, esoteric symbolism, and the whispers of hidden influences that might be at play in Trump's world. Think about it. Trump's connections to elite circles, his fascination with wealth and power, his use of symbolism and ritual in his rallies and speeches. It's all very interesting, to say the least. There's been a lot of speculation about Trump's ties to groups like the Freemasons, the Illuminati, even the Bilderberg Group. Now, I'm not saying any of this is true, but it's definitely food for thought. These organizations, whether real or imagined, represent a fascination with power, with control, with the idea that there are hidden forces at work shaping the world around us. And Trump, with his larger-than-life persona, his penchant for secrecy, and his undeniable charisma, fits right into that narrative. He becomes a blank slate onto which people can project their hopes, their fears, their conspiracy theories. Think about the symbolism he uses, the pyramids on his dollar bills, the eagle imagery, the constant references to gold and wealth. These symbols have deep, esoteric meanings, connections to ancient traditions and occult practices. Now, is Trump consciously using these symbols to tap into some kind of hidden power? Who knows, but it's definitely worth considering, because at the end of the day, chaos magic is all about tapping into the unseen forces that shape our reality. It's about understanding the power of symbols, of rituals, of the collective unconscious. And whether Trump is a conscious practitioner of chaos magic or simply a vessel for its expression, there's no denying the strange and unsettling connections between his rise to power and the ancient traditions of esoteric wisdom. So there you have it, folks. We've gone deep down the rabbit hole, explored the connections between Donald Trump, chaos magic, and the hidden forces that might be at play in our world. Is any of this true? Who knows? But it's definitely got me thinking. Trump is an enigma, a force of nature that defies easy explanation. He's a master of manipulation, a showman, a provocateur, and whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that he's changed the game. He's shown us that the old rules no longer apply, that anything is possible, and that sometimes the best way to achieve your goals is to embrace the chaos.